I don't think this was a jab at these particular white rappers, but I can't help but think about it now. Like when you think about it, when Eminem first came out, he had Dr. Dre backing him. And put it more presently, Jack Harlow's kind of like, a big name that kind of came out of nowhere, has DJ Drama backing him. Even if you go a few years back, Iggy Azalea was hot for like a brief run, had T.I. backing her. Hey, what's going on, folks? Another episode of Just My Opinion with Ryan. And if you see the pop up, do me a huge favor. Help me get those subscribers up. You might as well hit the like button while you're here. But we are talking about the latest episode of Atlanta. This was episode 3, titled Born to Die. I like this episode. I thought it was funny. And then I know I've said it plenty of times already, but I really feel like the majority of I feel like the majority of these Atlanta episodes sounds like it could just literally be like something from like a stand-up comedy bit. And I felt like this episode was no different. Instead of going through recapping step by step or chronological order, just going to go through some storylines that really caught my attention. And it was really just 2 main storylines of this episode. I really felt like, just to get the shorter one out the way, I really feel like the adventure that Earn went on just felt more like a failed side mission. Like how if you're familiar with video games, you do side missions all the time. I feel like that was just like a failed side mission. Of course, he finds himself on a journey to try to sign D'Angelo, which I don't blame him. As we all know, Atlanta has never shied away from dealing with race. And we see like this whole, I guess, PR team or whatever is trying to like cape for this white woman who drew her gun. It's like this white woman happens to be an author of like some best-selling book, but she drew her gun on a black kid who just was going door to door doing some type of fundraiser or something like that. And that part's annoying, but it's definitely part of reality. This whole PR team is trying to discredit like this black teenage kid, like say, oh, let's see if we can find some dirt on him and show that maybe he had a checkered past. Let's try to justify her actions by saying she lives in a sketchy neighborhood, or but anyway, and that whole scenario just annoyed Donald Glover, and he said something along the lines of like, can we just find like someone else to promote or something like that. And the white guy who's leading the meeting jokingly says, unless you could get somebody else, but unless you could get this person or D'Angelo, I don't want to hear it. And, even though he was joking, Donald Glover, Earn was more like, all right, I think I could get D'Angelo. So then there's that whole quest. But as I mentioned, I thought it was just felt like more of a failed side mission. He goes to the rallies, of course, and he's waiting a week in this room, and he realizes that he wants to experience D'Angelo instead of see D'Angelo. And maybe it's like an inside industry joke or something, because I really don't think about D'Angelo like that. Of course, he has classics, but I guess they're trying to create, I guess there's like some type of, I don't know, mystique or mystery about D'Angelo, especially if you're trying to book him for something. I don't know. But anyway, of course, the whole thing is a whole fake. He gets there, and there's like this horrible D'Angelo impersonator instead, and they go through this whole perspective of D'Angelo, or an idea of what D'Angelo is or whatever. But anyway, I think the biggest storyline was a lot funnier. Something that was, I thought was definitely, how could I put it? I really think that reason why certain things are funny is because there's like some truth in it, And of course we see the part of Al, aka Paperboy, he's leaving this, from performing a bar mitzvah, and he's offered $1 million to kind of mentor this, Jewish man's son. He tries to mentor him, all that type of stuff, and he immediately finds this kid and the group of other white kids that he's with just corny, of course. And that's when he runs into another fellow rapper by the name of Bunk, and then they end up bonding, and then you get this whole, mindset of like, oh, you got $1 million to try to mentor this kid or whatever. You should be getting 10 million. And he brings him into a meeting. And the whole YWA thing I thought was hilarious. Find yourself a young white avatar. If you want to be in the Grammys and this and the third, you got to find yourself a young white avatar. And it's funny, but the way they broke that whole seminar down kind of made sense. But the whole reason why they broke it down really made sense. And just taking it to reality, right? I don't think this was a jab at these particular white rappers, but I can't help but think about it now. Like, when you think about it, when Eminem first came out, he had Dr. Dre backing him. And, put it more presently, Jack Harlow's kind of like, a big name that kind of came out of nowhere, has DJ Drama backing him. Even if you go a few years back, Iggy Azalea was hot for like a brief run, had T.I. backing her. So it's funny how that kind of, correlates. Like, some of the hottest white rappers may have had like, some veteran, black rapper or producer, in the game behind them. So I thought that was kind of funny. And also, I felt like this was definitely a jab at the Grammys as well, because we see, after Paperboy is put on game, first of all, the person he was initially supposed to mentor, I think his name was Benny. Benny gets stolen by the other rapper, Bunk. So I thought that was funny. So he ends up befriending the Yodel Kid and starts mentoring him to the point to where the Yodel Kid has made a hot album and a hot single, and he's a shoo-in to win the Grammy. And of course, at the last minute, Paperboy finds out that he's dead. And I think that was like kind of a shot at the Grammys, because it's that easy to kind of have a white rapper win a Grammy. All they need is like maybe a little bit of a backing behind like a black rapper. Or not. If you're just a white rapper and you have a catchy single, the odds are pretty high that you could win a Grammy. Look at Macklemore, for example. I think he won, Best Album of the Year over Kendrick Lamar. And that Kendrick Lamar album is a classic, Good Kid, Mad City. And I think whatever album Macklemore came, it beat out it beat out Kendrick Lamar. So anyway, I thought that was just, I thought that whole bit was just brilliant, So yeah, man, I thought it was a dope episode. And of course, unfortunately for the fictional character, young, what was his name? Kid Yodel or Young Yodel, whatever his name was. The day he wins the Grammy, he overdoses on drugs. Therefore, kind of ruining any type of future plans that Paperboy had with this white rapper that he was molding and mentoring. And through that experience, he's like, I don't think that game, that whole mentor molding game is for me. But I thought it was funny because just my, I guess, hypothetical conspiracy theory brain running, it kind of makes sense if you look at some of these white rappers who are out now. Oh, I do think there is one clip where they may have taken a shot at Post Malone. The guy in this particular scene did have a lot of resemblance of a Post Malone. But that's just yet another example. White rapper, mediocre-ish kind of a single, has a high chance of winning the Grammys. That's all I'm gonna say. So let me know what you thought, if you agree or disagree with my takes. Hopefully it didn't offend anybody. And love it or hate it, folks, these are just my opinions. Peace.